Hi everyone. So welcome to the Data Streams Academy's SQL Fundamentals training. So on day 4, we are going to talk about data manipulation languages or statements. So insert, update, delete. These are the three things which we are going to talk about. So yesterday we talked about data types. We know how to create a table and as well as like how to choose the right data type, right? So now we have a structure ready. So if you see, this is the table, one of the table we created yesterday. So I'll try to select. So select is a statement to retrieve the data. So it does not comes under DML or DDL, it comes under DQL. But just to understand at this point on a fundamental, understand that like select is the query that help you to retrieve the data. So here we have this four columns: ID, name, date of entry, and age. But you don't have anything, any data inserted, right? Because or no data is available in the table customer info. So DemoDB is the database name, DBO is the schema name, and customer info is the table name. So now you have created a structure, you have created a table. Now next task which you have is like you wanted to store a data, right? So how to store a data? So there are two ways. So when you say store, right? When somebody tells you that store a data, so all you have to think about is insert, right? Because you got to understand the way to store data is insert. Okay, so just keep this in mind. So now let us see how to store a data. So there are two ways, right? Because when we were talking about designing a table, I gave you two options. One was create table statement, second was through the design window. So same way, like when you right click, you have an option to edit the records, right? Edit will help you to update the data. Update means making changes on the existing data and as well as adding a row in a table. So if you like, if you just wanted to add a record, you don't really need to write an insert query. So I'll say ID is 1, name is Samit, date of entry is like 20 Feb 2025. I'll just future it. I don't have any constraint, anything. I'll just put it as like 30. Right, what's happening? Yeah, so now this data is inserted. So let us, before we write a select query, let us start from, what is our table name? Customer info, right? Okay, sorry about the typo. So customer info. Now you can see a record called ID1, summit, name is summit, date of entry is February 20th, 2025, age is 30, right? So this is how like you can use design window. You can keep adding the record, right? Wherever you see null, you can keep adding the records here, and if you move the cursor to another row, the data will get inserted. So don't say that. So what happens if you don't enter it completely, right? You can, 1 second, give me control 0. So it does not allow null. So we can click on escape button, because I don't normally use it, right? Because once you're familiar with SQL, you don't use the design window. But being beginner, I want you to understand like there are options to make changes in data without writing queries. So talking about insert, right? What do you want? Let us construct the query right now. Correct. So you wanted to insert a data or store a data. So insert into, right? This is your statement. Insert into, like create table, right? Insert into, where do you want to insert? I wanted to insert into DBO dot customer info, right? Okay, so you told me that okay, you wanted to insert data into DBO customer info. Now what are the columns do I have, right? So there are two ways you can write the columns. One, you have to write like ID, comma, you can keep writing. Otherwise, if you are slightly lazy enough, click this columns folder and put it here. It will automatically fill all the column names here. So we are going to insert into all the columns, right? So now you tell the system what are the values you wanted to insert. You said you wanted to insert by writing insert into, and you also told SQL that this is the table where I wanted to insert, and these are the column I wanted to insert, right? So ID I'm setting it to, and I need to give a name. So Abhi, and date of entry I will give 12 Jan 2025, and I guess like 28, right? So now here few things to remember, right? My ID column was an integer, so I'm giving without single quote. My name was a string, so I'm giving in single quote. Date of entry was a date data type, so which if you just expand this column, you'll be able to see that in varchar date I need. So I created this table so that like you have experience on the major data types which we generally use. So in all the numeric you don't put single quote, string and date you put single quote, and age we get given tiny int because we know that the age doesn't go beyond 150 and all, right, because we have limit until 255. So today we'll experience about errors as well, like how the data will be inserted and errors would be coming in. So my query is ready. I'll select, run this. So the data is inserted. Now let us select. So when you have multiple queries, right, and you want to run only single query, you have to select and click on execute. So now the record Abhi is inserted in my table. So this is how an insert statement works. So now let us try few interesting things. I'm giving an ID. So here my data type, right, if you read this, ID is not allowing null, name is not allowing null, date and age are allowing null. So let us try with the same value. So I'll give Sami, and I'll give 14 Jan, and I'm going to give a value as like 300 as age. It is invalid in nature and we have tiny int. So as per our current knowledge which we have about data type, tiny int cannot store a value 300. Let us see what SQL says here, right? So arithmetic overflow, that means like your column with data type numeric is not able to store the data 300 and statement has been terminated. Now a basic question, right? Okay, this age column got an error. Does it store other three values? The answer is no. Okay, I have deleted for some reason. Yeah, so that's not in it. So either the entire row will get inserted or the rows will never get inserted. That is the stage we can call it as that is atomicity or consistency, acid properties. You like I'm not going into theory, that takes time. So these are the errors, right? Now if you wanted to try something like, okay, you know this is an integer column, right? I'll try to insert Sam and I'll revert this back to like 23. And let us see what error you get. Conversion failed when converting varchar value Sam into data type int. Because you know this ID column is an integer and we are expecting a numeric value within the range of int. But we gave a string value. So basically ID integer column cannot store string. So they are saying like conversion failed, varchar value Sam into data type int. So this is how you learn when you do a data operations, right? You got to familiar with errors so that like you can easily understand how this data can be, like how error can be tackled. Now we talking about this data type, right? I have mentioned like, okay, date of entry and age are not mandatory, right? So you imagine that you have a data without this, but here in like columns you have provided for values, you have given 3. So if you try to insert this data, SQL is saying, okay, there is more number of insert statement values. So because values you have only 3 but ID has 4, so this is not matching, right? It's not one-to-one matching. So but you still know that, okay, age will allow null. So why SQL is telling this, right? If you wanted to insert a record without age, you can still do that. Get rid of that age column and insert it. Now okay, I did not fix this one, right? So I'm giving that id 3 and I am not giving age for Sami. So we'll run this. So it's inserted, right? So this is how the data would be captured. And what I would do, suppose you imagine that you wanted to insert for all the records, sorry, all the columns, and okay, id will just for our tracking purpose, because we'll give for. So now the data is inserted. So either you can mention the column name, or you can run without column name. But if you are running without column name, you should make sure that you are providing values for all the columns, right? So that is how insert work. So now you have that Sami without like age value, because age column didn't pass, and submit the ID number 4 where like we inserted without column. So now imagine that I wanted to like update the age for Sami, right? So you have an uniquely identified key, that's ID. So this is where like constraints or keys coming into picture. So I haven't covered that yet, but let us learn the fundamental, then we will be going detail into those topics. So here I have a requirement. I wanted to update the age for Sami. So there may be, I think fortunately we only have one Sami, but the best way is to use ID, because ID won't be repeating. This case we did not set a key, but generally it is how it works. So how we can write the query, right? We are going to learn update statement. Update is to make changes to existing data is update. If somebody come back that, like, I wanted to change value of an employee, I wanted to change something, right? When you hear the word change, keep in mind that you already have a data and you wanted to make changes in any of the column. Here update table name, we have to have a set statement. That set is like, okay, I wanted to make changes in each column. I wanted to I have to set the value as like 25. So what happens if I run this query, right? We told SQL to update the data in customer info, set age as 25, and you have four rows. It can update anything, right? So we have to tell the system that, okay, where which row should be updated. I am saying that where id equal to 3. So we'll run this. I will see what happens. Yeah, so now id with 3 got updated to 25, because we mentioned that id equal to 3. So where condition is filter, so you can apply that in select as well, where you can say that, okay, I wanted to retrieve only that particular id. You can where id equal to 3, you can keep changing the value, id is equal to 4. So we'll be talking more about filters, conditions, and all these things later. Okay, so now you know how to make changes to data. Now let us say that you wanted to delete a data, right? Delete from. So delete is what? In layman terms, remove a record from the table. Remove one or more record from the table is called delete, right? All these activities what we discussed, insert, update, and delete, are making changes to data. It is not touching your columns, it is not touching your table, it's only making changes to data. Same what we have learned in update, right? You wanted to delete a record, so you only wanted to delete one record. Then you tell the system, okay, delete from table name where id equal to 4, right? So if you don't set that where condition, this is going to delete everything. Same filter, right? If you don't have a update or delete query without condition is going to remove all the data. So now it deleted only record number 4. So this is the three key statements, and same way which I have seen in the design window, right? You can right click and delete the record if you want. So that option is also available. So but behind the scenes SQL is still going to run this query and remove the record. So this is pretty much today about insert, update, delete, and you also have learned the different way to do it. One is through the design window, second one is this through queries, and in insert you said like you learned like inserting individual columns or different columns. You also learned about different arrays. So here also like if you are applying a where condition with an integer is being applied, a string is being trying to compare with an integer, right? You get an error. Conversion failed varchar the value to data type int. So conditional operations also, like you will not be able to compare between string and number, but yeah, if it is in string data type you still be able to do that. We'll learn that, but just keep practicing, understand how these queries have work, so which help you to get familiarized and be comfortable with the data. Yeah, so that is all for today. We'll talk more about advanced query structures like select, where, conditions, looping, all these things in the upcoming sessions. Thank you for your time. Yeah, have a good day.